Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing The African Queen. So The African Queen came out in 1951 and was directed by John Huston, and this film is set in German East Africa in 1914 at the start of World War One. So right at the start of this film we see Katharine Hepburn. She plays this English missionary called Rose, and her along with her brother are in East Africa when all of a sudden what happens is that some Germans come in and they burn down the natives' huts. Then we bring in Humphrey Bogart's character Charlie, who is a mechanic on this steam-powered boat known as the African Queen, and at the start of the film we see him deliver some mail, but after, when the Germans attack, Rose then goes off with Charlie on this boat, and then the story basically takes off from there, developing the relationship between Charlie and Rose. So this was the first time that I had ever seen this film, and it's a film I'd heard a lot about. It's a very famous film, a very well-known film, and it's an absolute classic. And it was quite surprising that I hadn't seen it, to be honest, especially since I have seen quite a few other films with Bogart and Hepburn in, but this was one that I never really got around to seeing, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very enjoyable film, very light-hearted, and an excellent story as well. And really what makes this film work so well is the two leads, Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn. These two on screen together are absolutely fantastic, and I do think if it was some other actors in these roles, I think the film probably wouldn't have worked as well and it wouldn't have been as successful. So Humphrey Bogart, he plays a real sort of worn down mechanic in this film, and he actually won an Oscar for Best Actor for his role in this film, which is quite interesting. But in this film he's a very interesting character. He does get quite fed up with Katharine Hepburn's character Rose quite a lot throughout this film, and the relationship between these two characters is something which is really the main focus of this film, because at the start of the film their relationship is a little bit rocky. They have sort of a few arguments here and there, but they eventually learn to respect one another. I do think that actually Katharine Hepburn probably does a bit of a better performance than Humphrey Bogart in this film, if I was to be completely honest, because I've seen Katharine Hepburn in quite a few films now, and every film I've seen her in, she seems to be a completely different character. You have a character in the Philadelphia Story where she's quite pompous and quite full of herself, and we have something like Bringing Up Baby where she's very sweet and innocent. Then we have this film, Rose, as this English missionary where she's very sort of upper class, very prissy and proper, but she still learns to take care of things herself at the end of the day, and she's very much in control. She knows what she is doing throughout this film, and her character throughout this film really learns to survive a bit more in the wilderness, especially when they're on this boat going along this river through the jungle. And actually I do have to mention, I think the cinematography in this film was absolutely gorgeous. Most of this film was actually filmed on location in Africa, except for a few scenes which were considered a bit too dangerous and were filmed in a studio. But generally this is an excellent looking film. It's very colourful, obviously being filmed in the jungle, and obviously, you know, this being 1951, a Technicolor film, this was quite a big film. For a film being in Technicolor at the time was still a fairly big thing, and still, well, quite unusual for the time perhaps. And this was actually the first colour film for, well, both Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn, and also the first colour film that John Huston directed. And I think John Huston does have to be given a lot of credit for this film, because he's one of those directors that always manages to make things work. I actually, with this set behind me, with this collector's edition of The African Queen, it comes with a book, and I was reading a bit about John Huston and Katharine Hepburn, and I did get the impression that quite a lot of the time John Huston just tends to go with the flow and wait for things to work out, and if things don't work out he accepts full responsibility for it. But this film was one that just worked completely, and I've seen some of his other films like Treasure of the Sierra Madre and The Maltese Falcon, and they're all fantastic. So he's an absolutely brilliant director, especially with this film. If I was to give some downsides to the film, really, I don't really think there are any, apart from perhaps the plot itself is fairly straightforward. It's not the most complex and difficult to understand plot, but if I'm honest, sometimes I do like to watch a film which is straightforward and easygoing, and this is a film which most people should be able to enjoy. I think most people could be able to sit down together and enjoy this film. It's not particularly offensive or anything, and it's an excellent story. The acting is brilliant. It's a beautiful looking film, obviously being in Technicolor like I mentioned, which does make it a bit more accessible to younger people who aren't used to watching black and white films. And overall, it's a fantastic film. One thing I will say is that I'm not actually entirely sure Humphrey Bogart deserved to win an Oscar for this film, because it came out in 1951, and I think Marlon Brando in The Streetcar Named Desire did give an excellent performance in that film. Having said that, I do think Humphrey Bogart should have won the Oscar for playing Fred C. Dobbs in Treasure of the Sierra Madre, and this was actually the only time Humphrey Bogart won an Oscar in his career. So, I don't want to strip him of that one Oscar, so it's fair enough really. So overall, The African Queen is a fantastic film, and it's one of those films that blends genres. It's a bit of a comedy, it's a bit of a romance, it's a bit of an adventure film, a bit of a drama. It really has the whole package, and it's a quintessential Humphrey Bogart, Katharine Hepburn film. Two of the best actor and actresses in Hollywood history, together directed by John Huston, in this beautiful film telling this amazing story. So for that reason, I am going to give The African Queen a rating of 10 out of 10. It's definitely worth checking out if you like Hollywood classic films, and this is an absolute must-see. And even if you aren't into older films, still give it a try. You may be surprised how much you enjoy it. So there we go. So that is my review of The African Queen. So what do you guys think? Have you seen The African Queen? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know down in the comments section what your thoughts are. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.